3, 1, 2.
Oh, no. No. Oh, no, it's not me. I'm just checking the...
It's gone? The Commissioners Court of Brazos County will meet in regular session on May the 24th, 2022, 10 a.m. The Commissioners Courtroom, County Administration Building, 200 South Texas Avenue, Suite 106. First item on the agenda is indication of pledge of allegiance to the U.S. Texas flag. Commissioner Barrett will lead those.
Please bow with me. Thank you, Lord, for this day and the many abundant blessings that you bestow upon us. Please keep in mind the people of Ukraine, our first responders, our teachers, our military who make us safe and allow us to enjoy the freedoms we do today. Thank you for the opportunity to do meaningful work on behalf of the citizens of Brazos County. Know that the work we do is your work, and in your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor to the flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, Commissioner. Second item on the agenda is call for citizens' input and/or concerns. And we have a few citizens who signed up. Susan Fontaine.
Thank you,
Morning.
Judge. Thank you, Commissioners. Appreciate the opportunity to speak. My name is Susan Fontaine, and I live in the Saddle Creek subdivision. And I'm here to talk about IGN Road and its snake curve that goes on to Straub and the snake curve from Straub to Stousland. This is a huge safety factor. We have had tremendous growth in that end of the county, and the new subdivisions that have been built there now encompass 340 home sites. And that is not counting all the individual acreage homes that are out in that way in the ranches. If you figure even just 2 cars per home site, and many people have kids with cars, and if those 2 cars are only doing 2 drives, one in, one out, that is a huge increase in number of cars. The repairs that the county tried to do on the curve, the really, really bad curve, are already crumbling, and these were just done a couple months ago. In addition, we have businesses out in that area that attract a high volume of traffic. One of the businesses is a wedding venue, venue place called Peach Creek. They advertise that they can seat 300 people per event. Those events are quite often weddings. They're quite often on Friday and Saturday nights. And so quite often there's alcohol involved. And again, if they're driving in and then driving out, they are going on those snake curves where we have poor lighting, poor street markings, and somebody's going to get seriously hurt. Thank you very much for listening to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Ed Young.
Thanks for allowing me to speak today. My name is Ed Young. I'm the Vice President of Administration and Corporate Business Manager at Oldham Goodwin, and I also live in Saddle Creek. I've lived there just about 8 years. What I'm going to do is kind of recap what we've talked about concerning, or talked about today and in previous weeks concerning the IGN, Straub, Sweetsland road section from Greens Prairie Road to the entrance of Saddle Creek. This is the main entrance to Saddle Creek. There is one back way in, but it's through the middle of the Duck Haven subdivision. Just in recap, very narrow road, not designed for the traffic that's currently using it. Since traffic was redirected to INGN, instead of Straub and Wade, 2 new subdivisions have gone in, which significantly increases the traffic out there, and multiple commercial businesses have either expanded or been established in that area. There's no lights on the road. There's no shoulders or lane markers on much of this road. Multiple driveways connect to the road with multiple blind curves, as already been mentioned. It makes it very difficult to see when vehicles are coming or going around those curves, people coming out of their driveways. Road condition is very poor. It's got multiple patches, uneven spots. Some of the recent patches are coming apart already, and that's, as was mentioned, less than 2 months ago when that was done. The connection between INGN and Straub at the snake curve was an afterthought connection of two existing roads back many, many years ago. When it was done, there was no thought of traffic because you also had Wade Road, you also had Straub Road, which connected to Welborn Road, and that was the main way in and out for anybody back in that area. Now, because those intersections were closed to support the railroad, all traffic goes around this narrow snake curve and gets on INGN to eventually either continue on INGN or go out at the new Greens Prairie section to Welborn. On another note, this project has already been designed, and it's got a projected cost, now this was a couple of years ago, of about $6.5 million. It's ready to go pending funding approval. It's been delayed multiple times over the past several years. Now's the time to do it. Brazos County has up to, I believe, $33 million in funds through the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, to spend on deserving county projects. This project is deserving, and it needs to be funded and completed. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Anita Duncan.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this morning. My name is Anita Duncan. I'm a resident of Saddle Creek. I've lived there for about 10 years now. When our neighborhood was turned over back in January of 2019 from a builder supervised neighborhood over to a neighborhood-run HOA, I was on that first board that was developed, and one of our first priorities at that time, because it was one of the biggest concerns of our neighborhood, was the IGNN Straub Stouseland entrance. It was dangerous that long ago, and it's still dangerous. When we first started, Commissioner Wasserman, which was before Commissioner Aldrich, told our neighborhood at that time that it would be we were promised it would be straightened out when Wade Road was closed. That didn't happen. In September of 20, our board had a conference call with Commissioner Aldrich and the county engineer, and we were told at that time that the American Rescue Plan allotted $33 million to Brazos County for roads. $3.1 million of it was allotted for our current project, and so it's been designed. It's like Ed said, it's ready to go. The funding was there, but for different reasons given, it was always bumped back, and now supposedly it's pushed back to 2023. The excuse was the hurricane, and then COVID, and then just different things. So for our neighborhood, for myself personally and for our neighborhood, it seems that it's not our lack of progress correcting our road is not due to lack of funds, but the allocating of the funds. The funds are there. The safety of the residents of Saddle Creek, Winding Creek, the venues, the businesses, and there's multiple other neighborhoods back there now. It's paramount, and unfortunately, in my opinion, the road and the danger of the road is a tragedy that is coming soon. So we really hope you take the importance of the concerns of our neighborhood. And thank you again for letting me speak.
Okay, thank you. Roger Stout.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. My name is Roger Stout. I am one of the 5 individuals this court appointed as a Commissioner of the Brazos County Emergency Services District 1. I am here today to make a request on behalf of the district. For personnel available, several years ago, as the usual 15-year forecast of equipment purchases for the Precinct 1 Fire Department was being developed, the firefighters inquired as to the feasibility of payment being applied to the street in front of the Milliken Fire Department building, now the Milliken ESD building, in to both Windfall Street in front of the building connecting to FM 2154 and Pierce Street connecting to FM 159. One of the many justifications for this request was the weight of the water tanker truck being planned purchase. The firefighters were assured by the then county officials that such an improvement would be done with no problem foreseen. As part of the ongoing equipment purchase plan of the district, we were recently notified that the planned tanker truck would be built and delivered in August of this year. It was ordered several years ago, but has been tied up due to the chip issue. We have been informed the chips have arrived. Thus, we respectfully request that the Brazos County perform the requested paving project as soon as possible to prevent damage to the existing roadways from the anticipated water weight, perhaps the legal limit on any state highway, when the fully loaded water tanker truck exits the station en route to a major fire. Our request is that the roadway be graded, rolled, and packed, then paved with the appropriate thickness of hot mix with no drainage ditch work being done as none is necessary, recognizing the drainage systems functions perfectly even after substantial rainfall in a very brief period of time. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nick Backlund.
Good morning, judges and commissioners. I have recently opened a small distillery here in Brazos County, and I'm here today to bring up the issue of the fees that are charged by the county when a permit is issued for a distillery or a rectifier's permit. This fee is currently $1,500, which is set out in the TABC code as half of the amount payable to the TABC for the permit that you receive. My best research, I can't understand what this code or what this charge is for by the county. The county doesn't have any oversight or enforcement of the TABC code. That's all done by the TABC. I'm not utilizing any infrastructure within the county for my operations. And the county also receives a 5% refund on the fees paid to the TABC currently. And I would just like that fee reconsidered. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other citizen input? Hearing none, we will move on to number 3 is presentation and discussion of 2022 Chamber Day survey results by Glenn Brewer. Glenn, come up.
I guess I'll start this the way we start every chamber ribbon cutting. Howdy.
Howdy.
I'm Glenn Brewer, the President and CEO of your Bryan College Station Chamber of Commerce, and I'm really excited to be here today, Judge and Commissioners. First of all, before I start on the chamber survey results, I do want to say on behalf of our board of directors, almost 1,600 tax-paying businesses, we want to say thank you to each one of you for the tremendous job you guys are doing in Brazos County. We're very, very happy. We have a great commissioners court, and we're thrilled with the work you're doing for our local businesses. Also want to thank Commissioner Cawley for recently attending our chamber delegation to Washington, D.C., where we took the interest of local businesses to Washington to make connections with not only our Congressman Sessions, but also the entire Texas delegation, and try to reestablish some of those connections that have been lost during the times of COVID.
May I say it was an honor? It is always an honor to be a participant in that particular trip, so thank you.
Well, you did a
And your
wonderful job
leadership.
representing the county, and not only being that with the mayors of the both cities, city councilmen, business leaders. We had a well-rounded representation of our local economy visiting Washington, D.C., and we appreciate you representing the county very, very, very much. Also, to start out, I want to thank Judge Peters, who went along with Mayor Nelson and Mayor Mooney on our proclamation for March 31st, 2022 as Chamber Day. That's the way we start out Chamber Day, by reading our proclamation. And for those of you that don't know, and I know all of you do, what we do on Chamber Day is the Chamber has done this for many years. We get a group of volunteers together. We divide into teams. We pair most of them with a member of a first responder to go with them out. We go and canvass the community. We walk the streets. We walk into every business. We tell them, whether they're chamber members or non-chamber members, we tell them thank you for being in business in Brazos County. Thank you for the people that you employ, the taxes you pay, the investment in our community by your business. We want to thank them because we believe at the Chamber, and I know everyone does, with stronger, healthier community through stronger, healthier businesses. And so that's what we do on Chamber Day. With that, I will get into the survey results. I will try to be as brief as possible because you do have all the data in front of you, but that's not a promise for those of you that know me. I'll do the best I can to be brief. This year, well, just to start one more backtrack, in 2019, pre-COVID, that was our largest Chamber Day ever. We had built up every year more and more businesses, more and more volunteers. We peaked in 2019, and then of course in 2020, COVID-19 happened. We were not able to do Chamber Day. In 2021, in around March, if you remember, that was a slight little window we had. We thought COVID was going away. It was right before Omicron came back with another little wave, so we were able to do Chamber Day. It was after missing a year. It was kind of a cold start. After being gone for a year, we actually visited, I'll start back, we visited over 1,200 businesses back in 2019 with over 220 volunteers. When we got back in 2021, we were able to put together, I don't actually have the number of the volunteers, but we were able to visit 730 businesses in 2021. And then in 2022, we started getting things back more to normal. We had 175 volunteers showed up for Chamber Day. We visited 760 businesses, and of that 760 businesses, 606 filled out our survey. And I might say, before I give the numbers, what happens when you go into these businesses, and we tell our volunteers, when you walk into the door-to-door, they're not expecting you. You may talk to an A&M student that's their first day on the job. You may talk to a mom and pop that have been there for 50 years and everything in between. But when you talk to 606 businesses and 606 different people, you can aggregate that together and get a pretty good idea of the overall flavor, of the overall feeling on these questions. So we will tell you that, first of all, the first page you've got with the total businesses visited, it shows that we went to 760 businesses, 606 answered the survey. That's about 80%. That's up a little bit. Last year, 70% of the people wanted to answer the survey, and that I'm sure can be attributed a little bit to COVID at the time. But then, so let's get into the results. The next page, what do you expect our local economy to do, is one of our first questions. And very, very happy to say that on that question, you can see 71% of the people we surveyed in this year, 2022, expected the local economy to increase, while only 10% expected it to decrease. Those are numbers that you would expect. I think this was done also, don't forget, in March. The last couple of months have been a challenging time for our local economy. There might be a couple of people that would change their answers to what they did in March 31st. But we had 71% expecting the local economy to do better in the coming year as of March 31st. If you flip that page over, you can fold out the page, and this has all the detail on it. This is all the detail from 2019. You can see pre-COVID, 2021, and 2022. This shows the different business sectors that are broke down. It shows the different businesses visited in each one of those different business sectors. You can kind of see, if you look over the past 3 years, the top 3 sectors in the number of businesses we visit have been the same top 3, although in different orders. Retail, clothing, gas stations, Walmart, etc. Restaurants, food and beverage, and services, professional services also. And those continue to be the top 3 that we visited. And you can see their responses in there. Based on those responses, If you wanted to look at the people that possibly were expecting business to decrease, based on the number of responses, you'd probably look at restaurant, food and beverage, construction, and services were some of the three that expected a possible decrease at that time. I'll move on. The next page, compared to the last 12 months, how have your sales changed? This is coming out once again of COVID. 60% expected their, 60% said their sales have increased in the past year. 25% stayed the same, and 12% decreased. If you turn the page over to get to the detail, you can dig down into a little bit of that. Compare that to 2021, where basically everyone's sales had gone up. You can see some of the best increase in sales based on the number of responses in also the restaurant field, once again retail and services. Also financial services, over 50% reported an increase in sales as of March 31st. Next page, one of my favorites, quality of life in the Brazos Valley. We asked our survey people to rate the quality of life, excellent, good, average, or poor. 88% said the quality of life in the Brazos Valley is either excellent or good. Only 0.5% of the people, 3 out of 606, said it was poor. And I'd like to talk to them and find out a little bit more about that answer. But that bodes well. You can see on the next page, if you look at the answers in 2021 and 2019, 93% said it was excellent or good in 2021. And 90% in 2019, maybe the 88% might be down a little bit because of COVID or possibly some of our transportation issues, which I meant to mention earlier when we went to DC was a major portion of what we talked about, I-14 and 214, when we went to DC. Next page, do you expect the number of employees to change in the next year? And this has always been a pretty good indication of what we can look for in employment in the Brazos Valley. And when we took the survey on March of 2022, 44% of those 606 businesses expected their number of employees to increase in the current year. 50% stay the same. Only 3.5% expected their number of employees to decrease in this current year. The next page shows all the detail behind those numbers. Interesting note, over 50% increases in both healthcare and wellness. Also human social services are expecting increases. Once again, under the service industry, over 50% in services. Really, there's nothing as far as decrease. It's not statistically something to even look at in that particular category. The next page, how would you rate the quality of qualified applicants in our area for your type of business? It's kind of a difficult question because when you read it, how do you rate the quality of qualified applicants in our area? So when they get their applications from local people, how do they rate that quality? Over 42% of the responders said that they were good. 33% said they were average. We had 15% saying they were poor, and I think as we look into the numbers back there, you will see that in that particular area, the people that are looking at that are probably, most of them are in the energy sector, a high number of that also in manufacturing. A lot of the times, I know that we had some people that rated the applications being poor were in very technical fields. And businesses where they might actually be looking across the nation for employees rather than putting out a help wanted sign and expecting to get certain kinds of engineers and scientists at their job. But generally those numbers are pretty good. Moving on in my attempt to be brief, the last 2 pages or 3 pages are 3 questions that we've asked the last 2 years. And we will not be asking those, I do not anticipate in the future. They were all related to COVID. And they've only been done for the last couple of years only. How have you applied and received COVID-related government assistance or grants? You can see last year over 42% of the businesses we talked to had received government-assisted or grants. In 2022, only 23% of the people responded said they had received COVID-related government assistance or grants. And you can once again see all the breakdown at your leisure underneath that. The next page, what impact did COVID have on your business in 2021? That is looking back a previous year. what happened the year before that, and you can see basically in 2022 over 43% said that there was a decrease in their business, and you can see the different breakdowns underneath where the breakdown is on the decrease. A few got increases in business, and we all know that during COVID, but 43% had a decrease in 2022. And then on the last page, how would you rate your recovery from COVID? And this is in the current year right now. How do you rate your recovery? And the good thing on this question is 65% say their business is now increased since COVID. And that is to be expected, but it's a good number to see. You can look down at the different business sections and see who is recovering well and who is taking a little while to recover from that. To summarize, first of all, we'll leave all this data with you. It's being released to the public. We appreciate Brazos County encouraging us to take this survey and to do this. We love talking to businesses. We love finding out what their thoughts are, and we love compiling this report. And I appreciate you taking the time to let me present this to you today.
Thank you for the good work the Chamber does every day.
Thank you, Glenn. That's a great presentation, and we appreciate you doing that survey every year for us. Next, we will consider and take action on agenda items 4 through 26. 4 is approval of the Sheriff's Office to accept 50 donated used doors valued at $250. The doors will be used for training purposes.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 5 is approval of Chapter 381 Economic Development Agreement between Brazos County and Fujifilm Dynasouth Biotechnologies, Texas, LLC.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 6 is request from Sheriff's Office for approval to renew the agreement with LESO program as administered by Texas Department of Public Safety.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 7 is authorization of the county judge to submit a form to Texas Comptroller requesting a portion of the unclaimed capital credits received from electric cooperatives in the year 2021 to be returned to Brazos County.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 8, request from Sheriff's Office Jail Administration to purchase 2 Solar TS full body scanning security systems in the amount of $227,500 to be taken from the Capital Improvement Fund.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 9 is approval of the amendment number 3 to contract 21-008 pest control services with All Store Pest Control for the following, which will not be known as contract number 23-002R.
Move
approval A, B, and C.
Second.
Motion made, seconded to approve that, and it will now be known as that contract number. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 10 is approval of contract 22-126 licensed sex offender therapist for juvenile with Dr. Gutierrez, Jr.
I have a motion I'd like to offer not approving this contract, Judge, and I'd like us to discuss it.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion made and seconded to not approve it is.
The reason being, if you want to discuss it now.
I think we can discuss it. I think since it's on the agenda.
Right, and I really think we should discuss it because in reading the contract, this is a 3-month contract. Now, I don't know that people follow this, but sex offenders are very difficult to deal with and work with and counsel. And I'm going to ask Ms. Ricketson if she would step to the mic because I do have a question. When we have to cease the service, as we're saying, 3 months here, there's going to be a lapse in the counseling of these kids, and these are children. So I would like to ask, why not extend this contract for 6 months rather than 3 to allow for more counseling time for these individuals and decrease the possibility of lapse of service?
Commissioner, we are expecting to expand the contract. Our juvenile board would like to meet on the contract again in our June meeting, and so
Okay.
that's why I've only extended it for 3 months. But we are planning on making sure that we don't have a lapse in services.
Okay, and that's real important. The other question I have, Ms. Ricketson, is when your department receives a referral for a sex offender, this is a juvenile under 17, 18. Tell me how would your services be offered to these individuals?
Well, they would be ordered through the court or on deferred prosecution, and once the referral comes in, then of course we have to wait for the court system in order to decide what we're going to do with that. Sometimes the kids are placed in sex offender treatment outside the home. Those that can stay in the home, those are the ones that would receive these services.
So what would happen to an individual that hasn't been adjudicated but referred to the department for a sex offense?
They would most likely be on conditions of release until the time their case would come up. We can't order them into services, and so therefore, if we place those kids in services, they have not been adjudicated, and therefore there's no admission, and you have to have some admission for those kids to be counseled.
Yes, and how would they be handled? Are they just simply put on probation, or do you offer another service? Is there an alternative to counseling? Because I realize that counseling is effective, but it's not the only tool, but it seems to be the only tool we're using in Brazos County.
Well, it depends on the circumstances, of course, in each case. Like I say, some kids would be placed in residential treatment.
Yes.
It just depends on the particular case.
Okay.
And then that our sex offender therapist actually provides treatment, and also we use polygraphs.
Okay,
And they would be placed on probation with other services.
all right. And every adjudicated juvenile will get that service?
If that's what's ordered for that child to have, for sex offenders only.
Right,
Yes.
sex
If they're
offenders.
adjudicated for a sex offense and require this treatment service, yes, they will be provided this treatment service.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
And Charles, did you want to address the concern I have about the 3-month contract?
I think that Ms. Ricketson addressed it appropriately.
Okay.
The intent is just to fill a gap for procedurally for bidding purposes so we don't exceed the statutory limit.
Before you leave, Ms. Ricketson, could we increase this to a 6-month current contract?
When we renew the contract, it will be longer than 3 months. It was only 3 months this time due to the fact that there's some things the juvenile board would like to look at, and we just want to have it on the board again in June. Once we get through that, yes, we will extend this contract. We are not going to let the services lapse.
Okay, thank you.
And Commissioner, the statutes say that $50,000 or more, we have to bid those services out.
Yes.
And so depending on the utilization of the juvenile department, the prosecutors and so forth, we do not want to exceed that amount, and therefore that is the limited window for this particular contract before you
And
today.
that's a great point, Charles, but my concern is, you're doing your job, and we appreciate all the services that both of you provide for Brazos County. But at some point, that $50,000 is going to be, and there are kids that still need the service that haven't received counseling service.
So the concern, Commissioner, I believe, if I may, is that if we extend the length of this contract, then it would utilize those funds potentially much quicker, and they would therefore increase the likelihood that we would have a lapse because we wouldn't have a coverage for that period of time.
Okay, but my question is, are all the adjudicated youth getting the service? That's my concern.
Right now, Commissioner, they are.
Okay.
We have every youth, if they're not placed, every youth that we have right now that has been adjudicated and needs this service is able to receive this service for right now.
Great, okay. But you'll let us know when it's not that, right?
Yes, ma'am, and there is a counselor posted. We are trying to find our own counselor, but this is quite a difficult
Right.
position to fill.
Exactly, I read that, and it brought back memories because we've gone through this for many years, not just this year, but thank you both.
Thank you.
Okay.
Judge, I'd like to withdraw my motion for not approving this, and I'll let you handle that.
Okay, so you want to withdraw, who seconded that?
I did.
Okay, do
I
you want to
withdraw
withdraw?
my second.
Okay, so we've had withdrawal of the motion and the second, so we won't take
I move
action.
approval.
And I'll
we go.
second that.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion
And
carried.
thank you for the discussion and the time for clarification.
Well, it's necessary. This is our future workforce, our future citizens, and constituents. So I think we should invest in them in a good way.
Okay, we'll move on to number 11, is approval of the following committee for evaluation proposal of RFP 22-134, third-party guardianship services.
Move approval A through E.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
Commissioner, I don't, excuse me, Judge, I don't recognize the name on B. I just wanted to know who that person was, or were they?
Terry Hammond, he is the attorney who handles guardianship for the county. He's actually a county employee, and that's really what he does.
That was my question.
Okay.
Okay.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 12 is permission to advertise RFP 22-134, third-party guardianship services.
Move approval?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 13 is approval of contract 22-135 classification software for Brazos County Detention Center with equivalent.
Move approval.
Second?
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 14 is approval of contract 22-138 nutritionalist for Brazos County Juvenile with Priscilla Riddell Cohan.
Move approval?
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 15 is approval of contract 22-139 risk management software with InsureTech Software LLC.
Move approval.
Second?
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 16 is approval of the following committee for the evaluation proposal for RFQ CIP 22-624 architect for Brazos County Road and Bridge and Heavy Fleet Equipment.
Move approval A through E.
And I second?
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 17 is permission to advertise for RFQ 22-624 architect for Brazos County Road and Bridge and Heavy Fleet Building.
Move approval?
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 18 is consider and take action on Wickson Creek Special Utility District utility permit to construct a road bore for a 1-inch water line crossing under Forest Drive, 350 feet northeast of Woody Drive. Line will provide service to customer 11132 Forest Drive, sites located in Precinct 2.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 19 is approval of final plat for the Los Lobos subdivision, Lot 20R, Block 1, and right-of-way dedication being a replat of Lot 20, Block 1, Los Lobos subdivision, Brazos County, Texas, sites located in Precinct 2.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 20 is approval of Treasurer's Report for March 22, quarter ending 3/31/2022.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 21 is tax refund application for the
I
following.
move approval A.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None motion carries. Number 22 is budget amendments. Budget amendments FY 21/22, 32.1 through 32.4.
Move approval A.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 23 is personnel change status.
Move approval A and B.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 24 is payment of claims. Claims to be paid by Brazos County. Claim number 8115324 through claim number 8115449 and claim number 9004940 through claim number 9004991.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. We will skip down to number 27, and it's acknowledgement of FY 2021-22 budget for actuals by funds as of May the 18th, 2022. Number 28 is Juvenile Director's Report on Detention Population. Linda.
Good morning again, Judge and Commissioners. We have 36 juveniles in detention, 28 males, 8 females. We have 5 in Med-ISO, that's just per protocols, and we have 30 on electronic monitor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 29, Sheriff's Report on Inmate Population. Chief.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. As of this morning, our total population in the jail is at 576, 482 males, 94 females. We have 68 on electronic monitoring with 8 pending.
Okay.
Thank you.
Number 30 is announcement of interest items and possible future agenda topics.
Well, I would like everyone to remind everyone today is Election Day for runoff elections for Republican and Democratic primaries, and if you have not voted, and some railroad commissioners and Attorney General, please take the opportunity to vote. Our voting centers are open. You can vote at any of the locations within the county.
It's called to my attention that a lot of people, constituents, are attempting to go to Galilee, and that particular polling center is not open. So if you know of anyone and the question is asked, they can go to any of the other voting centers. The Brazos Center, I won't name them, but there's a few others. Thank you.
Downtown at the by the election office on Williams O'Brien.
Right.
And College Station City Hall.
Yes.
Utility District on Graham Road. I think Arena Hall. And I think there's one at the Medical Center as well.
They're all listed
No.
on brazosvotes.org.
Brazosvotes.org.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't
Thank you.
think it's the medical center.
There's one at the med school.
Do you have some,
Oh,
Commissioner?
the med school.
Yeah.
Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Okay.
Judge, I'd like to address on a future agenda that item that was brought to our attention regarding the distillery fee. I was wondering if I could get legal to look at that. If it's $1,500 and we're not doing anything for that, I don't have a problem with lowering that fee.
He actually came in and met with me late last week, so it's a new issue. So, Judge, Commissioners, he actually came in late last week and brought this up to us. We're looking into it. It's actually a statutory fee by the state, and as I understand it, we're required to collect it, and if we collect it, the state allows us to keep half of what we collect. That's why the notice that goes out comes from the tax assessor collector. If we don't collect it, then the whole $1,500 will go to the state. We have to collect it.
When it's a statute, we have to.
yeah.
We don't have a choice.
But we can set the,
We're working on it.
Yeah.
No, the
No.
fee's set by statute. It specifically is a $1,500 fee. It's in, I'll get you the statute.
Thank you.
Sure. And we're still looking into it. This is not a final answer.
Thank
Judge-
you.
Judge, I'd like to request that we add the concern that Mr. Stout came up with to our list of projects when we go into our Recovery Plan Act study, as far as how to allocate those funds for the paving of Wingfall and Pierce, with them now acquiring their tanker out there to where that will be better safety service for the ESD.
Okay, anything else? Okay, number 31 is call for citizens' input and/or concerns. Is there anybody else that wants to speak? Hearing none, we will go back up to number 25 and convene an executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074 to discuss the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, and discipline or dismissal of county personnel. And we need Commissioners Court, Jennifer, Cheryl, of course, and Katie probably should be in there. Budget, both of y'all, and attorneys.
Time 10:48.
Yeah, it's 10:49.
Okay.
Look for the one that says RUS.
Y'all ready? Okay, we're coming out of executive session. It's 11:08. There's no action to be taken, and the next item is to adjourn. Thank y'all.
Thank you.